I'm sort of mindful that we're just on the cusp of really seeing an explosion in VR at the moment. I think it was a month ago or a couple of months ago now that Zuckerberg was talking. He did that video about the metaverse, which to me feels very much like a sort of Matrix style deal. I think if it's not the metaverse, it will be something similar to it, that the actual like life on Earth will become, like, you can call me pessimistic if you like, but I think life on Earth will, like, whether it's through climate change or a pandemic and new variants and so on, or crushing poverty, people will opt to live a sort of fantasy world in a metaverse or a metaverse-like type thing. But if we go into something like the metaverse, do you think there's certain benefits? Like, is there new ways that we could apply psychology and psychological healthcare to people that exploits VR in a way that they wouldn't be able, that you wouldn't be able to do in a regular therapeutic setting? Is there anything about VR you're excited about, or?
No, all this stuff about using online therapy and VR stuff, that's all just a bunch of BS, because you cannot have an application. You can't download an app that's going to help you have a better life. Can it remind you to do your meditation exercises? Sure. Can it give you a variety of different meditation exercises to choose from? Sure. Can it force you to do them? No, can't do that. Same thing with VR. VR can't force you to do anything. It really would be a giant distraction. Could it be helpful? It could be helpful in the way that computers are helpful for some people to do microsurgery, but you still need someone in charge of doing the surgery. So I would be able to use VR the same way I help people use imagery. Imagery in their heads is much more powerful than VR because it requires some cognitive effort, which requires change to happen in the person. VR is much more passive. Not that it couldn't be entertaining, just like smoking weed or taking drugs or even taking prescription drugs. They bliss you out, they anesthetize you, okay? But they don't teach you any new skills. VR does not teach you any new skills. If you want to play a video game, video games, depending on the game, they can teach you some reaction time skills. But again, if you do them properly. But if you're going to have a psychologist help with VR, a psychologist help with online gaming, different kinds of software to help people be better or get better, my guess is probably going to be you'll need a psychologist to help people from losing their mind. So that's the most important thing. And people can lose their mind very easily as soon as you get lost in a fantasy. And there are some people, I'm not sure what it's like in the UK, we have a lot of deniers in America, and certainly from what I read about, deniers in the European Union of many things. Climate change and the COVID and the science and all this kind of stuff like that. Well, those people, I would suggest could be, many of them, could be considered delusional. Right? And those people, if they're delusional, you're out of touch with reality. The last thing we need is something to make it easier for people to lose touch with reality. And VR could be used in that way. Just like any other kind of distraction could be used in that way. You got to decide where you're going to live. If you want to live in reality, which is where most of the other people are, then you have to make a commitment to reality. If you want to escape from reality, I think we know what that leads to because of history. That's just my opinion.
My opinion is that there's a small part of me, actually there's a large part of me, that wants to kind of take the delusional type, like over here it's like Brexit, like Brexiters, who truly believe that the European Union is this sort of like arch evil enemy, when we're fantastic now that we've, it's like a World War II all over again. We've beaten the Germans, and they're fantasy, all of it. And there's a part of me that would love to just put a little, Matrix helmet on them, push them all off into a field in Kent somewhere, and they can just fight World War II off in their fantasy land forever, and let the rest of us get on with objective reality.
Well, now maybe that is a very realistic kind of thing to work towards. That's a very interesting use of VR, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. I mean, it would improve my life, and I think that's what we're all shooting for.